Don't wait till the battle's over. Don't wait till the struggle ends. Shout out right now. Shout out. Don't wait till you make it.
Hey everyone, it is Philip and welcome to the PHILLIP Show. Real quick, get your coffee. I got mine. This is from our friends at Dino's Cappuccino. That's one of my favorite spots, and I'll tell you why in a minute. You've seen it on an episode before, but I really enjoy going places that are real quaint, kind of quiet, but there's people coming in and out. So coffee spots are like my jam, specifically because for me, they allow me to be very creative, interestingly enough. Because I'll take my laptop and I'll sit. I know some of you guys know what I'm talking about. So for this month, what we're talking about is being creative. What does it mean? How do we use our creativity? Where does it come from? And how do we use it in our life? And sometimes our creativity inspires others to be creative as well. So all month long, we're going to be talking and speaking and journeying with people in Yellow Springs, because that's where we are. We're in Yellow Springs, and we're highlighting creatives in and around town. So I'm super excited today that we have another creative here, and his name is Kyle Truitt, and he's the owner of Posterior Chain LLC, and he's also a musician. So there's a whole bunch of creativity going on, and you're about to meet it all. Kyle, welcome to the PHILLIP Show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, man. Thank you for being here. So let's just jump into creativity. Tell us a little bit about you're from Yellow Springs?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I was born and raised in Yellow Springs, class of 2005. Woo woo. Exposing my age a little bit, but no, I mean, as far as being creative, like I was literally born and raised like by artists. The painting behind me is one of my dad's paintings. As long as I can remember, he's been a painter. I mean, he has probably like 300 or so paintings at least. Just kind of laying around in the house. And just growing up, I was always watching him paint. And my mom has been a dancer for about, I don't know, my whole life, probably about 60 years of her life. So she's been dancing for my entire life. So I've always been either kind of like surrounded by like painting or like dancing, because she would used to take me to like her dance rehearsals when I was younger. Yeah. So pretty much all around art. And my grandma actually was a pianist, so she taught piano for about 85 years.
Wow.
Or didn't teach, but she played piano for about 85 years and taught it for about 70 years or so. So I definitely received some of those creative artistic genes for sure.
Yeah, you definitely get them. You get them honestly, clearly.
Yeah.
So when you were coming through high school and going into college and throughout the rest of your life, what did you do? Did you notice that you were creative, like from the get? Did you think it was just all around you? How did you see it playing a part in your life?
Yes, all the above. So like I said, my grandma was a pianist, so she taught piano. So that was my first instrument that I learned to play, was the piano. I was maybe like 6 or 7. So my grandma, Anna Blackwell, she was like, she was the piano teacher of Yellow Springs, basically. I mean, so many generations of kids that have grown up and, subsequently left and moved back from Yellow Springs, they pretty much, if they played piano, there's a strong chance that she was their teacher at one point in time. So that was just really influential for me to see. But back to me doing what I did, piano, I played for about maybe like 3 or 4 lessons worth. A few years off. I pretty much have always been an artist, like a visual artist. I drew a lot when I was young, like sketched and colored and stuff like that. Then I had another phase where I learned how to play the acoustic guitar. I think I was in 5th grade. So I played that for about a year or two and took a hiatus, did some more art and stuff. And my dad also was an athlete. He was a baseball coach at the time for the high school. So I was very involved with like playing baseball and soccer. Soccer is kind of like a rite of passage here in Yellow Springs.
Yeah, it is.
So after I kind of like lost interest with the guitar, a couple of years later, I just like started playing the drums basically. And I would like listen to like kind of like hard rock music and just try to memorize those drum parts. And I like literally taught myself how to play the drums. My first drum set, I just found like household objects. Like I remember I used it was like a dartboard, that my brothers had from several years ago. So I just used that, and there's like a rubber like toy chest, kind of like a square thing that I like flipped over and like used that. And I was using my dad's paint brushes as drumsticks, and he wasn't super hyped about that really, but I mean, he liked that I was playing the drums. So I was basically like fortunate enough to have parents that were like patient and allowed me to have drums. And
I was gonna say, because that's like the kiss of death to parents. They're like, "What instrument do you want to play?" And the kid's like, "Drums." They're like, "Oh no."
Yeah, I was very blessed with like my parents were cool with it, and my neighbors, almost like more importantly, my neighbors were really cool with that too. So since the year like 2000, like the summer of 2000, basically, I've been playing drums, and then I've been in various bands since like the year 2001, basically. So like past 20 years, I've been playing music.
Wow.
And then, so going through high school too, I played music in addition to doing photography.
Wow.
I got into photography a lot when I was a sophomore in high school. So I would shoot film back when film was still a thing. So eventually I ended up getting a scholarship for my photography portfolio, and that allowed me or a scholarship for Ohio University. So that allowed me to like, go to college basically, to go there and receive a full ride there. Didn't necessarily.
So you got a full ride to Ohio University for photography?
So it wasn't exclusively for photography.
Okay.
It was like kind of like half photography, half of like diversity, basically, because they had a program that was like accepting like diversity students. So I'm multicultural, African American and Native American backgrounds. So they were like, "Yeah, come on."
Wow.
So yeah, that was quite a blessing to do that. And also, I one of my pictures that I took won a National Scholastic Gold Medal Award my senior year of high school.
Wow.
So that definitely kind of helped like pad my stats, so to speak, of like my portfolio to go. So yeah, I mean, I've been doing art like since forever, basically, in one way or another.
Being in Yellow Springs, and for the people that don't know, that are not from Yellow Springs, that are watching, Yellow Springs is a very eclectic and kind of artsy town. So for you, being from Yellow Springs, how did that help to shape, I guess, your interest in pursuing art, or did it?
I mean, it definitely shaped it in the sense that it was pretty much all around, either from my parents, like my dad, or my mom. Like my dad, he used to have like a decent amount of art shows. I mean, besides the art that was already hanging up all the time. And then my mom, she organized and put on the community dance concert that happens every year. Last year, notwithstanding because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So yeah, pretty much my whole life, she was like, every year she would organize the community dance concert. They would have it at Antioch College, and it would be a mix of like community and college members. She used to dance in like DC, and she would go to like Miami University to teach and stuff like that. But as far as Yellow Springs, though, I mean, it's a haven basically for artists like within the Ohio greater community, I feel like. So yeah, there's always art around, and like just like there'd be music on the streets, from time to time, but just like in the house every day, wake up and go downstairs, there's like 20 paintings in the living room, you know what I mean? So there's like, I've always been around it really. So yeah, it's definitely influenced me.
Yeah, that's awesome, because in Yellow Springs, you can just walk down the street and there's a mural, or somebody's literally painting the sidewalk, or just something. It's not random here in Yellow Springs, but for the I guess for the untrained YSI, people might see it as like random. Like, are they really painting on the side of that building?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I remember years ago there'd be like this one guy, he would always have his painting set up like either like downtown by the hardware store, or like like around the corner somewhere, just like in the middle of the sidewalk, just painting. And to those that live here, and be like, "Oh, he's out here," you know what I'm saying? But like some people that are kind of new, they'd be like, "What? He's just painting in the middle of the street. People are walking here." You're like,
right. So you like photography, but you said you also play in several bands here in the area. How does that work out?
It was great. I mean, it was an incredible experience, honestly. I mean, the first band I was in, we started playing, I think, when I was in 8th grade, 8th or 9th grade, somewhere like that. And then we had our first gig. So they put on these one-act plays in the high school. So like one act, quick intermission in like another play. So that was our first gig. Actually, we played in between the one acts at like the school play. So we would just play mostly like in town. At that point in time, there was a basement coffee shop underneath the Presbyterian church. They called it the Webb Coffee House. So they were really open to letting young artists, really artists of all kind, but especially like young, I mean, we were like 15, 16 years old, and they would let us play shows down there, and we play there like, monthly. So we'd be down there packing out the house, playing our little rock music and stuff down there in the basement, like super warm and sweaty. Like,
Is there any place in Yellow Springs now that has that kind of creative outlet or musical outlet for teens of that age?
I think Rose and Sal, they've been recently opening up to the idea of playing music, and especially live music, depending on the time and depending on who's playing there. So I know I've seen like a few advertisements for like a younger group in town that has played there. Besides that, there's not too much that I know of. I mean, the Webb Coffee House itself hasn't really been around for like, at least 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And then the street fair, just from like an aspect of like busking, I know there's several businesses downtown that are pretty open to letting musicians busk there. And I know that actually one of my drum students that I teach, he was in a band. He's in a band. They played like behind the Wildflower Salon and like behind the tavern at King's Yard. They played there. So I think that area, and just generally like in the summertime when it's warmer too, it just allows for more opportunities for artists to be outside and to play and that kind of thing.
So wait a minute. You said that you teach the drums as well?
A little bit. I have one student that I teach a little bit. So he's in a band also.
Okay.
He's like, I think he's like in 7th grade right now too. So it's kind of like all coming full circle, like starting your first band in Yellow Springs, playing like downtown kind of. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So you're not only a musician and a photographer creatively that way, you're also a personal trainer.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So we're going to look at a short video, and then when we come back, I want you to tell us all about it, okay?
All right.
All right. So wait a minute. So award-winning photographer, you also are a drummer and clearly a personal trainer. So how did you get into that?
My dad, honestly, so back in high school, my dad had a flare-up of pancreatitis. He went to the hospital, found out he was diabetic. So at the time I was playing sports and I was going to the Antioch gym and lifting weights quite a bit there. So he basically started coming with me and just like kind of, you know, started working out more, started lifting more, eating better, et cetera, et cetera. And basically learned how to personal train, became certified as a trainer, found a spot in town and opened up his own personal training gym.
Wow.
So that's the same space that I still work out of. So I took over operations of that 3 years ago after he passed away. So it's good to just keep that tradition going. But I mean, like, it was always funny. Like when I was at college, like every time I would come back to visit, like I would notice he'd just be like slim down a little bit more, or he'd be like a little more like kind of like broader shoulders and that kind of thing. So he put in a lot of work and really like transformed his body. And was able to, like, at least temporarily, like, find a good way to manage his health and his diabetes. So that just was really inspiring for me. And there's a lot of like kind of chronic health issues that are in my genetics, like heart disease, kidney disease, high blood pressure, heart type stuff like that. So it's, I mean, just knowing the benefits that like exercising can bring, and in managing those predispositions. It was just like kind of a no-brainer for me to like pursue that field. I wasn't doing a ton of things with art at the time when I decided to become a trainer. I was working a lot in the restaurants too, so I was just looking for basically a new direction. So, and it was very convenient that my father owned a gym too. So that, I mean, very beneficial, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, just watching how much like my dad like improved his life and improved his mood. And I mean, he would have my mom in there working out a lot too, and just like, you know, just kind of finding out that exercise can be a fountain of youth, so to speak, too. So
yeah, so well, first of all, we heard you earlier say that a lot of your father's art was in the studio and is in the studio. Is that the art that we saw in the video?
Yeah, I mean, there was a few of those paintings that were in the video, I think are still down there right now. And, you know, some of those paintings too, it's like I didn't even know they existed until like, you know, 10, 15, 20 years into my life, and he moves them around, opens up a shelf. I'm like, oh, there's like 30 paintings there I've never seen before, you know? So it's always nice. And like, there's always like, that's the one thing too I liked about his paintings too. Like every time you look at it, it's almost like you're like looking at a new painting, you know, you're always finding like something new. There's a lot of intricacies and different faces. I have one like behind me actually right now. So you might see a few things. Yeah. So yeah, this one like right that way, little face hidden there. So he's just like all about color and patterns and just like vibrancy and just all kind of stuff, really. So
when it comes to being a personal trainer, I know that because it's kind of in the family, there's a little bit of a different connection. But when it comes to working with clients, what is your passion when it comes to working with clients?
I mean, my passion really is building strength.
Okay.
Built with the strength and just like the resiliency, both physically and mentally, that brings. It just opens up a whole new world of like opportunities and abilities, and it's just a way to like, I mean, I said it earlier, kind of like in a way, it's like a fountain of youth. So like just getting stronger. I mean, it leads to like confidence. I mean, it helps people like kind of live their life better. Like especially like being able to pick something up off the floor safely. I mean, it's like one of the most invaluable things to be able to do, you know, long term, basically. You know, a lot of, unfortunately to me, in my opinion, like I feel like a lot of the fitness industry has kind of been like boiled down to like aesthetics and appearances and looking good and like challenges and like weight loss numbers, that kind of thing, which it can have its place. But like to me overall, like it's about like moving good. It's about living better and just being able to do things you want to do. You know, whether that's lifting weights a lot, whether it's just like going for a walk in the woods and like not feeling out of breath immediately, whether it's going canoeing or something like that, you know, or just like going to work and like being able to like stand up and, you know, sit down better, go down steps better and more efficiently. I mean, to me, that's like what it's all about. I mean, obviously, like I like the aspect of working out, and I like to sell the idea of like, you know, getting stronger and like, you know, making progress in the gym over time. But like, it's about life outside of the gym, really, you know, like just to like improve yourself for like, you know, the world out there, basically. That's the way that I see it.
Are there any misconceptions that people have when they come to either start a workout or, I guess, basically their intentions? Are there misconceptions when it comes to, like, I'm going to get a personal trainer and...
Yes, I feel like some of those can be like attributed to either like just kind of like how the industry works, or just kind of how people's like doubts about themselves, I guess, can kind of manifest themselves. And then those two things, in my opinion, are kind of tied together, at least in the exercise world. Just 'cause, like I said, I mean, it's a lot of times like the fitness world can be kind of rough. You know, comparisons are really rampant. You know, it's hard not to like, you know, see all these like magazine photoshopped images and, you know, the leanest people, the most elite genetics that we can see. You know, it's hard to not kind of compare yourself to that when you're going to the gym and when you're around in that environment. So I just try to make people feel comfortable with themselves and like find a way to build confidence through basically building strength, building resilience, and just building a good habit, really. I've noticed a lot of people really underestimate themselves as far as how strong they are. So that's one thing too. Like, I mean, it's not uncommon for like a few, like for new people to finish that first couple workouts and be like, dang, like I didn't think I was going to make it, but then I just kind of kept going and like kept breathing and then like made it. And, you know, it might've been a little bit sore too, but you know, it comes with the territory a little bit.
No, definitely. So how do you, in a town like Yellow Springs, because it's small, how do you find clients, or how do they find you? And do you think it's an advantage or disadvantage being a personal trainer in a small town like this?
Well, for me, I've had a lot of success with word of mouth, honestly. I mean, I used to advertise a lot more a few years ago, and like when I first started too, I mean, I would do a lot of the social media posts, like, you know, now that was effective also. I mean, especially when I first started, just like a lot of the videos, it was not quite as elaborate as the video that my friend Khalil Nassar made for me, and got to shout him out. Great video. They were, you know, just be like a little 30-second clip or something like that, but I would just do that a lot and just like keep posting that all the time, basically. And then as like the more clients I would start to build up, I mean, just like I'll have people like, you know, spread the word if they liked it, you know, that kind of thing. So just over time, I mean, it's a small town, you know, word travels pretty fast. So like 5 years ago, I would have never like pictured myself as like the workout guy, but like, you know, that's me now. So I'm cool with it, for real.
Yeah. So now you're like the workout guy. So this is what you do full time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And just like the aspect, like I was mentioning earlier too, like getting better in the gym so you can be better like outside of the gym. Like a lot of people like feel like look better, like be stronger, feel more confident, do more things. And, you know, people around them are like, hey, like what's going on? Like you got a little more pep in your step, like, you know, like seem a little more energized. Yeah, I mean, just different people basically like saying the good word. You know, I'm always grateful for my community. They've been really, really supportive of me. Pretty much since I started for my dad too, when he was training as well. I'm sorry, I think there was another part to your question too that I kind of blanked out on.
I don't remember.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, word of mouth has been really, really helpful for me. And then like, you know, those type of videos, like the real nice, like real good, talented, edited videos, like the one you showed. And then my friend Joe Leary, he made another one, like a one-on-one interview too. So that was helpful. Just kind of put that out there on the interwebs.
On the interwebs.
Plus, I do a weekly outdoor exercise class at one of the parks. I do that every summer, every Saturday, 11:30 at Gone Park.
One of the things I've seen the ads for that, and one of the things that was so awesome and so interesting is that you often donate some of the proceeds to a charity.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I started that up last year, and it was like right when like a lot of protests and stuff like that were going on, just a lot of like collective like awakening, and it was just a lot of performative type of stuff that I noticed. And I mean, I was kind of part of that too, like through social media and stuff. I just wanted to try to find like a different way to like just like show people and show different groups of people that I like, you know, I'm with you, like struggle is real for a lot of people out there. So flashback to when I went to OU, I studied photography and art, but I also minored in African American studies.
Okay.
So it started as just like taking an elective class called Black Media, taught by the great Akil Houston. It was about just like the representations of like African Americans and people of color through like popular media, like film and magazines, TV, that kind of thing. So that was like a really rude awakening, but it was like super fascinating too. So I'm like, I'm just gonna keep taking these classes, and it was OU, so I was on like the 5-year plan, so I had enough time to like kind of make a minor out of it. But it was great, it's influenced a lot of my work, because I do painting also. It's influenced a lot of my painting. It's influenced like some of my music and just who I am as a person, just trying to like educate and like, show solidarity with different groups of people. So that's where the idea of like donating came from. Is just like, it was a rough time for a lot of people, pandemic, like, a race awakening, that type of stuff too. So I just tried to find different groups of people to donate that might be in need. So yeah, still doing it.
Well, that was one thing that really, really stood out to me. Is like you have a business and you have all of these things that you're doing, but then there's a heart behind it too. And it's like, wow,
yeah.
that's really interesting, and that's such a great example for others, because I think that'll prompt them to kind of think outside of the box as well. It's like, hey, maybe there's something that I can do. The each one teach one kind of thing.
Absolutely. I mean, I attribute a lot of that to like the way I was raised by my parents and my grandparents too. I mean, like, they instilled the goodwill. I mean, they were very, very selfless people as well. Especially my grandma. I mean, she worked, she did the piano teaching. She was a nurse. Like, she worked for like the Lynx, like it's all kind of like different community organizations. Basically, she had her own like scholarship that she would give out yearly to graduates of the Yellow Springs High School. So I mean, just trying to follow that tradition of like just trying to give back, and just help others, basically.
So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you in regards to personal training or what have you, how would they reach you?
So the best way would be just either a phone call or text, 937-532-4277. I do have a website also, the posteriorchain.net. It's got a lot of information. It's got like, so I haven't actually updated it in quite a while, but it was there's daily workouts basically. It's the blog section of the website. I did like, there's probably like 30 or 40, like just, kind of quick at home on your own type of workouts you can do. So that's on one of the sections, and it's got some information about the boot camps and then my rates, and just like a little rundown of the history of the gym. So yeah, that's probably the best way.
That's awesome. And
Saturday, Gaunt Park, 11:30 a.m.
You said boot camp is on when?
Yeah, it's on Saturday. Saturday is at Gaunt Park in Yellow Springs, Ohio, at 11:30.
At 11:30. Well, I'll put the information so everybody can see it and kind of participate, reach out, view it, ask questions, whatever they need to do so they can find you.
Awesome.
Yeah, so thank you for stopping by and sharing your creativity. Oh, real quick question. So you have all these things that you do. What do you do in your spare time, if you have any?
In my spare time, I try to practice my drums because I'm in the band called Mojo Power.
Oh.
Mojo Power, we are a combination of like funk and jazz and rock and really good hip hop and just a little bit of everything basically. And like we like to have a good time when we play, like bring great positive energy. Like we got a trumpet, flute / like break dancer who raps really well. So
what?
We're all over the place really. So like be on the lookout for some new stuff, some new recordings coming from us, and just be on the lookout for some shows too. So I mean, I love playing music really. So it's nice to still be able to be doing that. I love to like just go for hikes and like just kind of hang out, relax, kayak, and, go to the local watering holes and enjoy great food. Miguel's Tacos, gotta love those.
Shout out Miguel.
Love the food there. So yeah, just try to take it one day at a time. Try to be happy.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for stopping by here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And we look for. Well, hopefully we'll be able to have another interview. See what's going on in the fall. You might have some different stuff coming up.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, might try to add something else on my plate. I'm very hungry. No, I appreciate you reaching out.
Absolutely. Everybody, that was Kyle. And I'll give you all the information. If you're creative, if you have anything that you love to do, even if you're questioning if you're creative, if you don't even know, one of the things that I was encouraged to do is just challenge myself and just try something. You never know where your path will lead. You never know what you will enjoy doing. Just kind of throw yourself out there and see, and take your health seriously so it can increase your life, your quality of your life, and all of that. So this is Phillip, and remember, you are the best you in the world, and we will see you next time on The PHILLIP Show.
Don't